The New York City Football Club has won 3 of their last 4 matches, all via shutout. And they've got a midweek game, which they hope will be the second of 9 games played in the month of May. And a Champions League game just finished up. We got to chat about that at least a little bit. It's NYCFC Views Live.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. NYCFC Views.
Collins approaches the shot, and New York City wins the first MLS Cup on their first try, and they're going crazy. Tiene el tiro y gol! Gol! New York City es el campeón de Major League Soccer.
The sickest New York City FC podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome back. It's a Tuesday night, a bit rare for us, but we were up at training today. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Roberto Abramowitz, your hometown NYC radio commentators. And U.S. Open Cup getting underway for the first team this year. It was a fun trip for the 2 team a year ago. So we're going to get into that U.S. Open Cup a little bit just to see what's happening there and review this last match, which New York City is, you have to say, is starting to get it. So I mentioned at the top, Roberto, first of all, welcome. How are you? What's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. We just watched an exhilarating all-time great game between Barcelona and Inter. We'll talk about that later on. But we were at practice today. I guess they got to kick the ball in between raindrops, and the team is off to Pittsburgh.
They're off to Pittsburgh, and there wasn't much going on. Now, I didn't get there right at the start of training, but all I witnessed was working on penalties, which is obviously one of the things you do as you prepare for an Open Cup match. Now, look, New York City, I think will have the edge against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but the Riverhounds are home. They're playing on the river. They're playing on turf. And the way they are coached, because I've interviewed this guy a couple of times, Bob Lilly, the games tend to be low scoring. And the reason I mentioned the penalties is one time I talked to him, I don't have the overall record in front of me, but the number of draws in his career was phenomenal. And he just smiled and chuckled when I asked him about that. And we talked about it a little bit, but part of it, he said is, he organizes his team. And
not this year.
That's what you're dealing with.
Not this year. So far this season, they've got 7 games. They've got 2 wins, 1, as you call it, draw, and 4 losses, 6 goals for, 9 goals against. And they are on a streak, not one that they're happy to be on. They've lost their last 3 games by scores of 2-1, 1-0, and 2-0. And the last game they lost was at home, and that was to North Carolina FC. So yeah, they're not doing very well. Maybe they were looking ahead for the past month.
Yeah, I wouldn't dig too deep into those results. Although you're right. I mean, that's not a good way to go into a game like this. And North Carolina, interestingly, Kerry Boley, formerly of the City Football Group, was announced this week as the chief soccer officer for the entire club of 19,000 players. And he's doing a lot of his work on the women's side with the North Carolina Courage in the NWSL. So, all right. Well, before we dig deeper into the U.S. Open Cup, and Roberto has a projected lineup. I did not create one. I would just like to look at his, and we'll review that. But here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. We've got another 1-0 win. And this one is over a team that you could say, all right, that's a satisfying victory. FC Cincinnati has been one of the best teams in MLS over the last 3 seasons. And they came in having won 5 in a row. So New York City cooled them off, and they cooled them off from the start, Roberto, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. It was a really good game for New York City. From the start, they got ahead in the 9th minute, and they kept the pressure on. It went back and forth. but they were able to shut out one of the best teams in the league, and it was an evenish game, but still more balanced towards New York City. If I can go through some of the stats here, Glenn, I think it bears it out, right? Shots 19-13, shots on target 5-4, both of those for New York City. Corner kicks 7-6, fouls committed 16 by Cincinnati, only 10 by New York City. Yellow cards 3 for New York City, 2 for Cincinnati. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that matters. 2-2 on offsides. If you want to look at touches, who had the ball more, it was basically a 50-50 game. Cincinnati 644, New York City 624, and successful passes from open play 345 for Cincinnati and 328 for New York City.
But I think the flow, statistically it's almost dead even, and it's a 1-0 result, and you go like, okay, but you had Alonso Martinez missing a penalty, hit the right post. He's now 2 of 4 from the spot, and we asked Pascal Janssen about Martinez and the missed penalty, and look, he's been their guy, so you can't become too critical. But 2 of 4 from the spot is not a good record, because you know what expected goals is, right? It's 80%. You're supposed to make 80% of your penalties. So I'm sure he'll get a couple of more chances this year. Hopefully he can convert the next ones.
Do you know the only thing about that? Okay, so sometimes you have guys who miss penalties, and it can happen. In his case, both penalties that he missed were struck very, very hard, and they just went off the woodwork. So they were off by, just a little bit. If it's a type of penalty where they're getting cutesy and, you take 2 steps back and you try to hit it softly to one side and you're hoping you're fooling the goalie and things like that, or, you just don't hit it well. All right. But I didn't think he hit him that terribly. He was off by a couple of inches on both of them. And they went off the woodwork. So
they did. They weren't on target. But you're right. I mean, he struck them well. And you're right. There's some penalties where the keeper collapses and the ball rolls, rolls into his chest or something. No, there are poor penalties, and then there are missed penalties. But when you miss a penalty like he did the other night, that was poor. Number one, it gives New York City a 2-0 lead and a bigger cushion. Number two, he had the keeper going the wrong way. So you didn't have to be so tight with it. But look, again, he's without Alonso Martinez. We're not talking about New York City being in 7th place in the Eastern Conference. So
did I tell you the story of what happened in Toronto? I think I might have mentioned it privately, but I don't know if I mentioned it here. So Alonso Martinez in Toronto was going to hit the ball to the right. That's where he had mentally prepared himself to hit the ball as he was approaching. And then Maxey came up to him and goes, Sean Johnson throws himself to that side, throws himself to the left, so you should go to the other side. And Martinez was like, okay, cool. And so Martinez went to the other side, and Sean Johnson went that way.
Yeah,
and he hit it hard enough that it got through.
Yeah, that was to perfection. And so Martinez doesn't score. And the other side of it, and we were just talking about the level nature of the game, Martinez missed an open header from 2.5-3 yards out.
Yeah. And he should have buried that one.
Tavon Gray, who off his 7-assist season, it's only his 4th game because of injuries and because he's, but maybe even beaten out for that spot at right back, although maybe he's garnered it back because Ilinic has been hurt, and Gray looked pretty good. But anyway, he put a perfect ball on the head of Martinez, and he just hit it over the bar. It was like an empty net. It was like a sitter. It was like gaping hole.
And I have a stat for you on that, okay?
Yeah.
Alonso Martinez has not scored a header goal at the club level since October 23rd, 2022, when he played for Lommel against K. Leers in the Challenger Pro League, which is a Belgian 2nd division. That was the last time for club that he scored a penalty. It's coming up on 3 years in October.
Well, I'll be more impressed if you get video of that. And I mean that. Let's check that one out, man. Let's see if it was like, was it, he was just sitting there in front, or did he get up in the air and snap his head? I mean, what kind of head ball goal was it? An interesting statistic that I had dug up somewhere, and I don't even know where, Roberto, but this year, penalty takers are under 75%. which again, expected goals is 80%. So the penalty takers in general are a little bit under average in their conversion rate. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But anyway, so it was Julian Fernandez. So we've been begging for the 21-year-old to get back on the score sheet. Now, he hadn't scored since March the 15th. And I had calculated when he scored this goal, and you're going to hear my call, then you're going to hear Roberto's call on it on the network. But when he scored it, he had a 285-minute drought, which, again, this lack of support for Martinez in the goal-scoring department has really been an issue. But it was a really nice goal. And here are the calls. First, Roberto, and then mine. And then our partners are around, too, with this, I guess.
Yes.
Cerca de la media cancha, avanza ahora Morales después del pase de Keaton Parks. Wolf manda el centro, balón desviado atrás. Perea le quiso llegar, no pudo. Anunga sí. Y Anunga despeja. Otra vez Parks con otro robo. Aquí está Morales. Morales cerca del área. Filtra un balón, le queda atrás. El disparo. ¡Gol! ¡Gol! De Julian Fernandez. Y New York City abre el marcador, está arriba 1-0 en el minuto 9.
Y lo bien que le hace al argentino, al número 11, marcar este gol, lo bien que le hace el equipo, enorme bien le hace el equipo encontrar a otro goleador que no sea Alonso Martínez. Gran gol de Fernández, sin pensarlo, sin dudarlo, sin medir, adentro.
So that's the Spanish side. That's Ariel Hudas, the partner of Roberto Abramowitz. Now here's my call along with Matty Lawrence.
But New York City win it right back. Maxi Miraldas. Julian Fernandez! It's 1-0! Goal! New York City FC! As Fernandez was loose at the top of the area. The ball was played on the deck. He hit it first time from about 2 yards outside the penalty box. And he beat Celentano to the keeper's right. And Julian Fernandez, we talked about him in the pregame, just one goal on the year. That came back against New England on March the 15th. He has finally broken a drought. And he gives New York City the 1-0 cushion here at Citi Field.
Well, they give the ball away dreadfully in their own defensive third to FC Cincinnati. Maxi Morales breaks onto it on the left-hand side and just cuts it laterally across the penalty area. Miles Robinson sticks out a left foot and just deflects it straight to the top of the penalty area where Julian Fernandez is working. I just talked about a left-footed right wing-back, Glenn. If it had been a right-footed right wing-back, that wouldn't have been too good. Instead, falls to the favoured left foot and he plays the conditions. It's a zippy surface here with the rain and he just passes it precisely past Celentano. It's been a terrific start. It's upwards of 80% possession as well right now for this NYCFC side, Glenn.
Yeah, what a great start to the game, and maintained it for about a half hour. And then on FOTMob and elsewhere, but they have this momentum chart where you can see, really who has the edge in the game. How is it leaning? Where is it tilting? And New York City, throughout a bulk of the first half, had the edge. And really where Cincinnati shone was, they're down a goal, end of the game. That's why the Alonso Martinez penalty miss, the header miss, those are critical at those moments, just because now you're scrambling at the end. But they held on.
They held on, and they've held on a few times now. They're getting a lot better. Out of the 13 goals allowed, only 3 have been in the last 15 minutes. So you're starting to see this team settle down and being able to control games. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be suffering some, because even under control, you're still suffering. And they're playing better defensively. They're starting to really come together, which is something that I asked Pascal Janssen about today, about the way the team has been coming together in that aspect. I just want to give you some stats on Julian. So Julian Fernandez played for Vélez Sarsfield in Argentina before he came to New York City. He had 7 goals in 65 games. And so far, he's got 6 goals in 47 games for New York City. So average-wise, he's doing a little bit better than he was doing as even a younger player. in Argentina. So
Yeah.
you
Okay.
just hope that number continues to grow.
Well, this is the stat I have on Fernandez. He matched his single season career high with his second goal of the year. That means he had 2 goals last year and 2 in 23. I recognize he was 19 years old, then 20, now he's 21, but he needs to score more frequently, period. End of story. There are no attacking players coming in until at the very earliest. The window opens, July 24th? So you're running with Fernandez and Ojeda, who I suppose we would expect to see tomorrow in the U.S. Open Cup. But we've talked about that before, that those two need to produce
right,
on a
and
more
Wolf,
consistent basis.
who's also a starter.
Yes, and Hannes Wolf. I've got stuff on the. Now let's go back for a moment. Here's Pascal Janssen for the presser today. You did ask about defending and also about the holding on to the lead. I mean, is that a sign of good times? So here's his response.
It's just a moment in time. If you look at the game itself, I think the team showed really good character. They were good on the ball. They were good off the ball. Clinical finishing is still a topic for us, but that's no different than all the other games because apart from a few games, I think we've created a decent amount of opportunities where we could have gone up more. If you recall, the game away against Atlanta was one of our better 60 minutes in this season. We were up 3-1, scored 3 away games, good goals. And as I said, this is part of a long way. So a clean sheet helps, of course, but it's just one game.
Boy, he's the master of downplaying anything where no hyperbole, man, with Pascal Janssen. It's but I like that pragmatic approach, but also just understanding that you, and I think not only a coach, but players certainly have to be operate in this manner. You can't get too high, you can't get too low, which I think is the credo in all athletics, right? I mean, you can't.
Right.
You have to stay. You have to stay with it.
You have to stay with it, and the team isn't there. It's getting better. It's playing better. I mean, the fact that they won in Toronto. Well, you can say, Toronto came in only winning 1 of their last 14 coming into that game, but also you can look at it from the point of, they were unbeaten in 4 coming into that game, and they had been playing much better, and defensively they had been playing better, and everybody at the moment that New York City played them thought that they were turning a corner, and so now New York City goes into Toronto and beats them for the second year in a row on the road. So you think, okay, that's a pretty good victory. But now you come home and you're playing, one of the best teams in the league. And you could arguably say, aside from Vancouver, there isn't a team that was playing better. And maybe they were even playing better than Vancouver, although Vancouver is the overall leader. Cincinnati came in with 5 wins and a tie in a row, right? Tie, 5 wins. I mean, they were smoking coming into this game, and they were healthy. They had everybody. Denke was there, Orellana was there.
Well, they weren't healthy. No, I disagree. They were not healthy because they didn't have Wobodo in the midfield, and then they didn't have Buka in the midfield. And they
all right. So you are missing 2, but they had gotten Kubo back. They had their striker. They had the middle of their defense. I'm
just saying they didn't have everybody.
I agree. We're getting better.
Pavel Buka is one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's instrumental, and Wobodo as well. I mean, those are 2 of the better players in the league, I think, that they were missing. But that doesn't take away from anything that New York City did. It was, it was a really good win. And Matt Freese, again, when necessary, came through, including this one against Orellana. So here's the save, and then we're going to talk about it. I want to break it down a little bit, Roberto. We'll have a little coaching fun here, all right?
All right.
All right.
But here's a slick move by Cincinnati and Orellana, and a cute angle shot as he beat 2 New York City players, then drove towards Matt Freese at the front post, decided to try to take a shot and put it between the keeper's legs. It was deflected. It's a throw-in on the far side of the pitch for Cincinnati, right to left here in the first half of play.
Yeah, look, Orellano's just absolutely ghosted past Pereira. Pereira gets squared up far too easily, and Orellano can go both ways, this time onto his unfavoured right foot. Good save by Matt Freese, so Glenn, he'll like that early on in this game.
And now he's got the 4th clean sheet. He's got 19 career clean sheets for New York City, which is second only to Sean Johnson, who has, I want to make sure I get this right, How many do you have, Sean? You have 60 in all competitions. Freeze got 19, so he's got a ways to go. So
yeah, and also Freeze's first 90-minute shutout of Cincinnati in 5 games. Now he's got a record of 3-2 against them.
Thank you. Now, I want to now the way Orellano got past Perea was pretty interesting, but Wolf is over there as well. So Shane, I want you to run this, and Roberto, when this goes, you'll see it stops for about 10 seconds. So that's where we're really going to get into it. All right.
Right.
So the ball is sprayed out to the right, and this is Orellano. That's Perea approaching, and that's Hannes Wolf to the inside. So there's 2 defenders there against 1 attacker. That's normally an advantage. But Perea, he goes up too hard and gets beaten quite easily. He's not balanced. And then Wolf, if you could play it again, Shane, for me too. All right. There you go. And the thing that Pascal said today when we asked about this is that it should have been reversed, meaning he wanted Wolf to go first in the build-up to this play, and then Perea would be the cover defender. And one other item here, Roberto, and then I want your take. Let's see one more time, Shane. A little bit further back.
Well, I want to comment on something before you start, Shane. Stop 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so Wolf is a guy who's behind Perea, right? So he's sort of like a little bit on an island over there. I want you to see the angle he takes on this, okay? Because it's really bad. Look at the angle that he takes on Orellano, and he plays himself right out of the play by not taking the proper angle. Watch that.
Well, that's Hannes Wolf. And
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, but he approached from a spot where it would be very hard for him to get at the angle that you desire. So what happens is Perea and Wolf, there needs to be an understanding there. There's 2 defenders against 1 guy. So Perea has to position his body toward and push Orellano towards the cover. And that happens through communication. If Wolf didn't say anything to Perea, shame on him. And Perea, he overran the play. And, you know, I forget how Pascal described Perea, like a jackrabbit. I mean, he's always so active and wanted to jump right out at this. And
Jack Russell
Terrier. That's right. Jack Russell. Well, Jack Rabbit too, maybe. I don't know. Don't they move real quickly? And
not like not like Russells do.
So pressure cover defending is the pressure defender, the first defender, which is Perea. You guide, if you're not winning the ball, you guide the player towards where the cover is. And that's where it broke down. Let it go, Shane, because we can see it one more time. I thought this was the most dangerous moment for them. My goodness, when you're carrying the ball along the line like that, and I do think he was trying to Meg Freeze, but
oh, for sure. Now, a couple of things. Another thing that I want to point out. Can we just run it one more time, Shane? And it's like when Orellano goes in on goal. I want you to watch Matt Freeze and his positioning on this, okay? Watch it. First, he's starting to guide the defense, right? He's trying to tell everybody who to cover. So he's talking. He's doing the right thing on making sure that everybody on the defense is fine. And now Orellano comes in and watch this. He goes and he's out a bit, and then he goes right back to the near post. He's not getting beat by the near post. And I thought that was great.
Yeah. Well, too many keepers are getting beat at the front post these days.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anticipating the ball to the back.
You cannot get beat by your near post. You just can't.
All right, very good. We do have some comments, so let's Luigi's concerned brother, Mario. Alonso's a poacher. Team keeps trying to use him as a mobile striker. Well, your striker has to come into the midfield every now and then to provide that kind of support and combine with Maxi or whoever or as it was Perea in this particular game with the new system, new shape that was set up.
Yeah, and also you can't just be a one-trick pony. You got to have a little variety to your game, and he has it because he can run onto long balls. He's got great speed, right? When New York City decides to go Route 1, he's really good at that.
Well, I think that's where he's had most. If he was a true poacher, he would have headed that ball in, and New York City would have ended the game. But that it didn't quite work out that way. Who else wrote to us? Looking beyond. Oh, one more. Yeah, Luigi, you get another one. Or Mario, sorry. Midfield's they take more shots to create chaos that poachers thrive on. I will say midfield shooting from distance is really vital because it keeps the defenders honest. Somebody eventually is going to have to step to you, like a Johnny Shore. Johnny Shore is going to score a goal this year, as long as when Aiden O'Neill comes in, if Johnny Shore never plays again, then or very little, then I might take that back. But he's really the only one that's been ripping it from the outside. We haven't really seen it from Parks too much. But
a little. Parks just doesn't have like a really heavy shot. I mean, most of Parks' goals, most of them are headers, but when he has shot, they're really well-placed balls. It's not like he's got a cannon from outside. Now, Johnny Shore, like the first thing he did when he came in as a 17-year-old, he saw an opportunity like 15 seconds into the game and said, hey, let's go, baby. And he whacked it from outside the box, and it was close. And I was thrilled by that because that's what you want to see.
Yeah, and that was in Miami against Messi and friends. So
exactly. You don't care.
And then we've got looking beyond with his Tavon Gray comment should clearly be the starter in my opinion. I don't know how
as much as we love both of them, I don't know if he should clearly be the starter, but offensively, normally, as it turns out now, he's done so much better. Last year, he led the team in assists with 7 primary assists, not counting secondary ones, just primary assists. He was a team leader, not on defense, the entire team. Team leader was 7. So it was funny because when Micha Ilinic came into the team, Micha was the offensive right back and Tavon was a defensive right back. But Tavon has developed that part of his game.
Well, he curled in another great one to Alonso, and no, you're 100% correct there. So, it's Gray's position right now, I would say, but we'll see how it goes. And competition during the week factors into who's playing on the weekend. I'm telling you right now. Mm-hmm. So you've got to stay sharp during the training week. So New York City now, Roberto, is 11-3-6 all time at Citi Field. I thought this was interesting. 8 of the 11 wins have been shutouts. So I think that's somewhat not remarkable, but because of the smaller confines, a lot more action in front of goal. I think that's a pretty interesting and impressive statistic that you have that many clean sheets.
You feel the crowd more at Citi Field. So if that influences anything on the opposing team or on New York City FC, then maybe. Yankee Stadium is just huge. As far as
how about
seats? It's only like 5,000 seats bigger, Yankee Stadium, but the footprint seems to be like twice the size almost.
But I think the proof is, and I think current players and current coaches are reluctant to compare Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. They just are because it's their 2 homes. Anton Tinnerholm in our chat last week, I thought one of the things that stood out is how he said, without question, how Citi Field is by far, I believe he said those were his exact words, by far the better environment to play in. So, unfortunately, I'll say from this standpoint, unfortunately, they play very few games at Citi Field compared to Yankee Stadium as a home venue. But, you do what you can.
The atmosphere seems great there. There's no doubt about it. And look, they got over 21,000 fans for this one. I can give you the exact attendance if I look it up here. But it was a little over 21,000, and on a day where it threatened to rain all day long, and then it basically stayed away until the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yep. Should point out defender Thiago Martins made his 100th appearance for the club, so he joins that Century Club. Tavon Gray, the match before, had earned 100, joining Keaton Parks, Maxi Morales as the current players. That'd be a trivia question. There are how many players? 15 players in all that have played 100 matches for New York City FC. Maybe we can put that out for a Riquinho card someday.
Yeah, you still have it? You still have those?
I actually do have a couple. I stumbled across them not long ago because I told you I was going to save you one.
Yeah, but you seem to be willing to raffle it off now.
I saw Keaton Parks went out with the injured foot today. We did not see him on the training field, but he did walk out of the facility.
Yeah,
and he didn't look he didn't look like he was laboring. So, doubtful he would play tomorrow. We're going to get to this U.S. Open Cup and see what we think. And then
we don't know the entire traveling squad. They haven't told us what the entire traveling squad. I mean, normally we would know because we'd be on the plane and we'd be with the team, but we're not broadcasting the game tomorrow, so we don't know.
Well, Carrizo, we know was on the charter that went to Pittsburgh because Pascal mentioned that in the press conference. Somebody asked about Maximo Carrizo. Did I say Barraza?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you said Carrizo. You said Carrizo. And I asked his dad, too, who just happened to be sitting there. So, yeah.
And then there's a question, any word on Aiden O'Neill? No, but Roberto spoke to somebody within the club who said that, hopefully by DC United, which is next Wednesday. So I don't know if that's going to happen, Roberto. Where are we now? They're not going to train. So Thursday will be really light. Friday, they'll do a little bit. Saturday's the game. I would say next Wednesday is pretty doubtful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's preseason for him because he has a full season at Standard Liège. He hasn't played. He didn't play like the last 2 or 3 games, obviously, because then he got traded. So it's not like he's out of shape. One would presume that he's training on his own right now. And I think that if he gets a couple of training days in with the team, then you're going to put him on the bench instead of carrying 2 goalkeepers or
Right.
3 goalkeepers, what I mean, 2 on the bench, which is what the team has been doing. So, it's not a complete team. As much as Pascal likes to say, yeah, it's a complete team. No, when you carry 3 goalkeepers on your roster, it's not a complete team. It's just not.
Well, before we get to U.S. Open Cup, let's get to Nico Melo's question. If you could throw that up there. Shane, do we think Tylis and Jovan will come back at the end of their loans next month? And if so, do you see them fitting into the squad under Janssen? No and no. That's my opinion. I do not have any definitive, comments from the sporting director on that one, but that's what I would say.
I 100% agree with Glenn. You will never, ever see Talis Magno, Jovan Mijatovic in a New York City uniform ever again.
Well, that was even more definitive than me, but no and no. All right, U.S. Open Cup. Shane, put up the draw. There it is. Mark Fishkin, our friend that covers the Red Bulls. He's a big Red Bull guy, but he's okay. And
he's great. Let's not do these. Okay, Mark Fishkin is great.
Roberto,
and he and I mean,
teasing.
We talk, and plus we're huge Knicks fans, and so although soccer-wise, we have interest in different teams and cover different teams.
All right.
We're solid every place else.
Let's get off of Fishkin. I'm friends with Fishkin too. Okay, I'm teasing you.
Doesn't seem like it.
Oh, please, Mark, if you're watching, I hope the Red Bulls will lose every game from here to the end of the season. No, I'm just kidding. No, I want to.
Do you wonder why sometimes people don't return your phone calls?
No, I was a Red Bull season ticket. I funneled a lot of money into that damn franchise. Believe me, before New York City was born. So
I was a season ticket holder.
Well, so was I.
All right.
Is this a contest?
No.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's get to the U.S. Open Cup. Are the Red Bulls even in it?
Yes.
Somewhere. Okay. They're in the Paul Caligiuri group. I would like New York City to be in a Paul Caligiuri group, but we're in the Landon Donovan group, which I think that's fine too. If Landon could come out of retirement and score a few goals, that would be good as well. But so we're in the strikers group. So maybe there'll be some sort of absorption. What do you call that? When it's I can't come up with a word now where it kind of seeps in. But anyway, you got Philadelphia, New York City, Indy 11, and Pittsburgh. Well, City's going to Pittsburgh. They're already there. They're playing them tomorrow night at 7:00. And then Philadelphia will be at Indy 11.
And as far as I know, I don't know where I read this, but if New York City wins, they're still on the road for the next game.
Yeah,
either at Philly or Indy 11.
Somebody put that out there. So that I probably read the same thing you did, and I don't remember where I read it, but that is what we think. So Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So Roberto reviewed them a little bit earlier. They are not a team in good form, but generally speaking, they're not a team that will concede much. on AstroTurf at home on the river, and New York City is you'd have to almost 100% know that you're not going to have regulars out there. You might have a few, and that remains to be seen how it's all going to be set up. Roberto Abramowitz, the astute observer and who has studied a lot of different angles. He has all the analytics on their physical capabilities.
I do not have any of that.
So that's how he came up with this lineup. So let's see Roberto's lineup.
All right, so here's my lineup for New York City FC. How do you like my graphics, by the way? Thank you, lineup 11. Very cool stuff.
That is pretty cool. Send that over to me. I used to have this, but I don't have it anymore.
All right, so the way I see it is you're going to keep a couple of guys. You have to keep a couple of guys who are playing regularly in the starting lineup. So I nominated Gray and Wolf for that. So here we go. So we have Tavon Gray, Strania Tanasiewicz, Burke Risa, and Cavallo on the left. Johnny Shore, he's young, he can play. So and plus, there's not exactly a lot of depth in that position right now, and especially with Keaton Parks out. So Shore will probably be manning the 6. I think that Perea and Maximo Carrizo, I think that he'll get a shot to play. Maxi Morales is not making the trip. So not only was it, one of those things where you just didn't think he was going to play because he's 38 years old and it's turf and all of that.
Right.
3 years ago against the Red Bulls, he got red carded and he's suspended for this match because this is the first one that he's been eligible for ever since. So
that's wild.
So Maxi's not there. I think Ojeda, Wolf, and Bakrar will be on top. And that's how I see it. Let's see how many of these I actually get right. And, sometimes, you can cheat a little bit and see how they're practicing and all that. And, sometimes you can see how, what the possible formation was. Not a chance. They weren't doing anything that was even close that you could take a Jandra. So this is all just on my guess. I could go 0 for 11 on this.
No, you won't. Bakrar, obviously. Ojeda, I think that's very obvious. I think the 2 central defenders, absolutely 1,000%. By the way, you need to apologize to the Cavallo family. There's no R in that.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Damn it. I apologize.
Now, the Gray thing is interesting because Drew Baera, I'm pretty certain, is on the trip, the homegrown. And this is a good chance to really give this kid a run. The Wolf thing, I'll tell you, that's completely based on would be a very, very strict data observation. If he starts this game, there's no chance he's playing more than 45 minutes. That's my opinion, but because he's logged a lot of minutes this year. Shore, you're right. Johnny Shore, well, he's 18 now. He turned 18, so he's a year older. So maybe maybe he can't go as long.
You think? So age is catching up with him?
And then Perea, I doubt he would play 90. So you have him at the start. I think that's fine. So Wolf and Gray would be the ones where I'd go like, eh. And if they do play, probably not a full match, and maybe you get Baera in, and then is Zidane Yanez? Will he be on the bench? I mean,
I would think that he would. I would think that he would be. We didn't get a traveling roster for the team, so we don't know exactly who's there and who's not.
Well, the kid Molinari,
Peter Molinari,
he played a lot in preseason.
Yeah.
So with the first team, and he'd be in the midfield, so that could be where maybe he goes for Perea. It's tough. I don't, and I think it'll be how the game goes. But
Justin Hack is on the trip as well. So and Justin, can play a variety of of positions. By the way, one of the things that I found out before the game last week against Cincinnati, because I asked and I said, so what happens if Tavon Gray goes out? Who covers there? And in the past, it had been Hack, but I was told that Strania Tanasiewicz would have moved into that position had Tavon Gray, that he's practiced that position. And that he would be the backup, obviously, without Mitja Ilinic being available.
Yeah. No, that's accurate. He played some fullback in preseason. he played some fullback in his career, and he's played right back before for New York City. So that's it's not surprising that he might be the choice because there's limited options, and he's had some experience there. So that's good. So there you have it for the Riverhounds. Our boy John Rojas said New York City's O'Toole and Riverhounds O'Toole, they're not related. That's your offering, John?
There are two O'Tooles and they're not brothers.
We need a better one before the end of the show, man, than that.
Come on, put them under pressure.
What else do we have in here? Oh, somebody wants a Raquinho card. Now I'm doing trivia for that, so I'm not today. So Daniel, you're gonna have to keep watching. One of these weeks, I'll just surprise everybody.
All right. Greg Kristen has a question there as well. And too bad MLS Pass is not covering the Open Cup match. Okay, but there's a little bit of good news on that. Not only is that on Paramount Plus, which is a subscription service, but it's also on the CBS Sports Network. So it's on most cable systems. It's even on Fubo TV, which is what I have. So the game will be on that as well if you do not subscribe to Paramount. As
an aside, Apple TV will be covering the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals of the U.S. Open Cup. So if you are a subscriber, and obviously Greg is, because he'd like to look at it, but now you know, Greg, you got just go to CBS Sport. That's on most cable systems, right? I mean, I've always had it.
Yeah, depending on the sports tier that you have.
All right.
John has, by the way, answered you, and I think he's threatening you. Yeah.
All right, Johnny boy. Johnny
Good luck
boy.
on your trip to Barcelona.
Oh my God, he's going on a big voyage, our boy Johnny boy. Oh man. Well, I know where I'm going next year when I head over to Europe.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go to
already
London.
asked how big the new house is going to be. So
there's always a spot for
the
me.
last time I went there. I don't know if I can afford it anymore.
There is a spot. There'll be a spot for me, right, John? I only need a couch. Even though I'm getting old, I'll still take the couch if that's what it takes. What did you think of the Club World Cup final spot? LAFC Club America confirmed at BMO Stadium on May the 31st. What's your feeling on that, Roberto? And before we go to kicking it around,
I have feelings on this because I have a lot of friends who are Leon fans, and it's a shame. So the reason is that Leon and Pachuca are owned basically by a father and son, family, obviously. And so there's multi-property ownership in Mexico, something that they've been trying to get rid of for a long time. Televisa used to have 3 teams. They used to have America, Necaxa, and San Luis. TV Azteca had several teams. Right now, Grupo Orlegui in Mexico have Atlas and Santos. So they have all these companies that have more than one team. And so they're trying to get rid of that. But not so now FIFA basically put their foot down. They basically said we're not going to allow this, and so Pachuca qualified and so did Leon, and so basically it was like, well, one of them's getting sacrificed, and they picked Leon. So they went to the Court of Arbitration, and Court of Arbitration said, yeah, FIFA has within its right to say, too bad. So I feel terrible for the players. I feel terrible for the staff. I feel terrible for the fans of Leon. They're a very well supported club. It's a club with great history. They deserve to be there, but the ownership situation in Mexico, put them under the microscope, and they were the ones that wound up getting, I was going to say screwed, but basically what happened. So now they're going to play.
So what you're saying is conflict of interest is permissible in the United States, but not when it comes to FIFA and the Club World Cup. Is that what you're saying?
Where are the conflict of interest in the United States?
Well, just watch the 11 o'clock news tonight, and then it'll all come back to you.
No. I'm talking sporting wise. I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting anything.
I'm just, if you just read between the lines, and let's not mention it anymore. But here's the thing: do you remember? I think we've probably brought this up, but the same thing was potentially going to happen to either Man City or Girona when Girona had that really good year in La Liga when they were, and that was a Champions League thing, and it ended up working out. And I don't remember all the particulars, but there was a scenario where I think it was Man City would have been out of Champions League, which I'm sure they would have concocted something to make sure.
All right, John, I know that John Rojas absolutely knows this. So, John, chime in here. We'll put John to work. Chime in on that, John, because I know that you're aware of it. I'm not. I mean, the difference being, obviously, it's teams in two different countries, and I don't know how that, that to me, differentiates itself from having teams, in this from the same country. At least FIFA sees it that way. We'll see. I mean, how do you avoid this now? It's the way it's going. It's not the only CFG isn't the only group that owns, different teams in different countries. So unless FIFA wants to be able to, make a big deal about this, everywhere, and then what are they going to do? They're going to divest.
Yeah, because
there's buying these teams.
There's a number. Yeah, there's a number of these American ownership consortiums that have ownerships on multiple teams. I think maybe, I haven't looked at that so closely to see if they're in different, in different stratospheres where, those things won't conflict at any point. But I don't know. One more from John. Put that up, Shane, because this is what John has to say about the situation with Saprissa involved. And I sort of remember this too. But Saprissa taking Leon to the committee. But anyway.
It's a mess. It's CONCACAF.
All right.
Hey, and always weird things. So now America and LAFC are going to play a one-game playoff, probably in LA. Some people have said, I don't know if this has been confirmed of where it's going to be played, but people have been speculating that it was going to be a Rose Bowl.
Yes, LAFC put out a release.
So
it's confirmed. And it's going to be at BMO Stadium on May the 31st. Yeah.
So it's not the Rose Bowl then. Okay.
No, I saw the Rose Bowl stuff. Let me confirm that really quick if I can find the release. It is the playoff. Oh wow. No, I guess this release. I forgive me on this. It doesn't actually say. It's just like FIFA saying that they're going to allow this one-game playoff, I guess, but it doesn't actually say when. So that, I guess we credit Tom Bogert and Ben Jacobs, who both said May 31st and at BMO Stadium. That's what they said. So.
Okay. That'll be one day before Cruz Azul takes on Vancouver at Ciudad Universitaria in Mexico City for the Champions Cup.
This could be fun. Kicking it around. Let's do it, Roberto. Just to continue off of that, so that release from LAFC came through at 2:11 p.m. Eastern, and it says at the end, further details regarding the playoff match, including the date, venue, kickoff time, and ticket sales, will be communicated in due course. So
the last time that America played Guadalajara in LA, they sold 86,000 tickets at the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I'll be shocked if it's held at BMO Stadium that holds 22,000.
All right.
I'll be shocked.
Okay. Let that be noted and put on the record. How about a stadium rendering? So they continue to throw these little things out. Let's see the I am so happy that they're the pigeons, man. I mean, if you're going to put this in front of your stadium, put that up there, Shane. I mean, so the East Club. So I guess this is the east side of the stadium. And now there are 5 little pigeons, 3 to the right of the big pigeon, and then 2 to the left, if you can see. And that's, well, according to you, Roberto, because I didn't study this, but I think you said that's signifying what?
Yeah, the 5 boroughs of
the
5 boroughs of New York City.
Okay,
now let's start here, okay? Let's give credit to Chris Campbell and the outfield for all of this. So they do a great job. Please follow them, and if you don't subscribe to the outfield, subscribe to the outfield. They do a fantastic job covering everything New York City. Chris Campbell is brilliant at all of this, and he's the one who keeps us abreast of everything that's going on. So yeah, they're leaning into it, and this is something that the fans started. This was never something that the club started, and the fans kept on saying pigeons, pigeons, pigeons. I have friends who refer to pigeons as flying rats. I've never been in love with pigeons, but I mean, look, we've got falcons in New York City, who are birds of prey that are, wonderful, gorgeous animals, and but they've picked pigeons. So and in Spanish it just doesn't sound right, because if you say pichon, it really just sounds like it comes out as basically like a filthy, dirty bird. And if you say paloma, then it's really not much of a pigeon, it's more of a dove. So in Spanish it doesn't work. For me, it'll always be los celestes. I'm going that way.
It's got a bit of a dove look to it, though, Roberto, too. So you could go for that if you wanted. So there we are, the Pigeons. I loved it when the Pigeons played the Loons. I mean, what's better than that? Minnesota United and New York City.
Well, they could play. You could play when you play Inter Miami, you're playing the Herons.
And the Herons, or Herons.
Herons.
Yeah.
Yes, Herons. Sorry,
I think Herons. And then Cincinnati was the Garys, but that's
don't trust my English pronunciation.
What other birds or animals are involved? I don't know. What else do I have here? Did you EA Sports mobile app broadcast of the LA Galaxy at Red Bull New York game coming up? What is that all about?
I saw that they have 2 games that they're showing. I guess whoever subscribes to EA Sports, they're going to get 2 games for free. And so they're going to be broadcasting it over there. I don't know what kind of a reach that they have.
Wow.
But it's a way maybe to reach a slightly different market within soccer. People that may not always pay attention to MLS, and now they're going to get something for free to be able to do. I don't know if they're doing separate productions for this or anything, or they're just taking the Apple TV feed. But
I think they're taking the Apple feed, because I think there's also some sort of a chance to also get a discounted subscription or something. But I shouldn't say too much more because I don't have the specifics. I just saw it like an hour before we came on. I just happened to come across this, so I wrote it down. I wondered if you knew anything about it. And then this Corey Jeff, John Wall Street, another great thing to subscribe to because he has a lot of business news in it if you like sports business. But Corey wrote about USL expansion and the move to Pro Rel. And I saw that you commented on something I put out, because I took this one paragraph, which I thought was pretty interesting, that they're looking for championship teams to be in the Division One. That's where they think it's going to come from. But they're also looking for at least, it sounds like 4 to 6 expansion sides costing $25 million. So Corey's point was, well, a League One expansion team only costs $10 million. So why not get an expansion team in League One, put the extra $15 million into building your program so they get promoted to the championship, and instead of paying.
Right. Which is why I've always said that MLS being the way it is, it's impossible to do Pro Rel, because you're not going to go and buy a franchise that's going to cost $5 million and then, spend whatever money you need to buying players and making it good, and then going up to MLS where franchises, are $750 million right now. I mean, it's just not fair. You're killing the investment of everybody who's been supporting the league so far. Now, do you wind up saying, well, if you wind up winning and you get promoted, then it becomes if you really want to play in MLS, then you got to pony up the other $745 million, for the rest of us. And I don't think anybody's doing that. It's just not happening. So if they're going to do it, and if it was me, I'd buy the cheapest team I could buy, and, I'll wait 2 years, and hopefully I do it right. And by that point, I'm in first division. I'll pull a Wrexham.
All right. Yeah, I would go lower division too if I had the money. Hey, I just wanted to close by publicly congratulating, but also just I thought it's important that I mentioned that Carly Lloyd was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame along with 4 others. And Carly played for me at Rutgers
Raimondo.
2001 through 2004, and she has had quite a career. Obviously, getting in on her first try or first attempt or whatever they call that.
If she didn't, it'd be a travesty.
Well, one voter,
An absolute travesty.
one voter did not vote for her. She was near.
It was not me. It was not me. I have a screenshot of my vote someplace.
Okay, well, you don't have to prove it to me. You send it to Carly.
I didn't know if you were accusing me.
No,
because I do vote.
I know you know better. I would like to publicly also say that Roberto, knowing that I know the women's game, and have been involved with it for so long, if there are women on the ballot, he will contact me, go, what do you think? And I give my opinion. I don't know what he does with the opinion, but at least he tries. And I like that. If you're a voter, do your research, man.
Absolutely.
Do your research.
I mean, why wouldn't I lean on you for something like this? I mean, that's your wheelhouse. And so it would be crazy of me not to go and speak to you and get your opinion on this. I mean, come on. We want to get this right. We really, really want to get this right.
So here's
I take the vote very, very seriously. It's a privilege to be able to vote. And I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do it because they're starting rotations and stuff. So as long as I can, I will always take my vote seriously.
So if I could tell one story, which this is these seminal moments that you look back on and you go like, wow. So Carly, in her acceptance speech, and by the way, I would encourage anyone who's interested in the game to go on YouTube and watch these acceptance speeches. Nick Raimondo, Chris Armas, Mary Harvey, Mark Abbott. But Carly's was especially riveting, I thought. She really opened up, actually apologized to her teammates, her U.S. women's national team teammates, for not letting them in because she was so driven, and she kind of separated herself at times. And she was estranged from her family. I'm talking her father, her mother, and her sister and her brother for 12 years. And the trainer she was working with, also it just kind of drove a wedge. And I mean, that's the sport, and winning was everything in her development. Well, she's a Hall of Famer now. She's back with her family, happily married, and has a baby. But she got cut by this guy named Chris Petroselli, Roberto, when she was on the U21s, 2005. And the U21s were training at PDA, Players Development Academy, where I coach, a day before they were leaving for something called the Nordic Cup. It's a pretty major event. And at the very end of training, an attacking player rolled her ankle. And they're standing over her for a few minutes. I'm just sitting up at the bleachers. And all of a sudden, Chris Petroselli turns and starts walking. He's a Jersey boy. I've known him for years. He starts walking to me, and he's looking up at me. I mean, I pretty much know what he's going to say. And he goes, "Is Carly around?" I said, "Well, I think she's home." So I called her up because he wanted to bring her, and they were leaving the next day. And I called her up, and she said, "Oh, he doesn't like me. He cut me." I said, "Well, he just walked over here and said he'd like you to go. And there's a reason for it, but what do you got to lose?" Anyway, I don't know how she came to the decision. She went. She scored 3 goals, including an important goal in the final. I don't want to say the rest is history because that's trite, but she got called into a senior camp shortly thereafter, and then it went on from there. But how about that? She was cut, and she gets this opening because of injury, and then she takes advantage of it. So if there's not a lesson to be learned there, I don't know what is.
Yeah, 100%. 100, and it happens in all sports, right? I mean, all you have to do is look at the draft of any of the major sports, and you see how many guys were passed over. I mean, you look at Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks, it was a second-round pick. The guy is just like, he's killing it right now. And he has been ever since he came to New York. How Dallas let him go for nothing is insane. But the Knicks have taken advantage, and that's what happens. Guys, sometimes scouts are too smart for themselves, and they think, and it's not, it's a crapshoot. Because sometimes you don't know how good guys are going to be in the college game and then, and how that's going to translate to the pros. Some guys who are great in college don't make it in the pros, and then some guys are like so-so in college or decent, and then, wind up, being absolutely fantastic pros. So you sort of never know. And the Jalen Brunson story is a warning towards that, and obviously the Carly Lloyd story as well. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team because he was allegedly not strong enough, not big enough.
Hey, speaking of some stories that have been written, the players, Black Players for Change, came out with a story on Pascal Janssen, and I would suggest anybody who's a supporter, it's a nice story. It goes a little bit more into his personal, where he's from, the influence of his mother. So it's pretty, who was a performer. His dad was a musician, but there are some real interesting tidbits about Pascal Janssen, who is running the show for New York City FC. So tomorrow night, are you watching New York City at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, or are you watching the New York Knicks at the Boston Celtics? I'm just curious. They tip off or kick off at the exact moment, same moment.
So if my friend fixed the floor in his bar, he will have 2 TV sets, and I control the remote. So one will be on the Knicks, and one will be on CBS watching New York City FC. Plus, I'll tape it at home anyway, so I can review it later anyhow.
All right. So the game is not on the radio, so we're not carrying any coverage ourselves. I'll be golfing and then going out with my friends. One of them's Dutch, and we're going to go watch the game at some local pub somewhere. So, yeah, we'll get it done. We will get it done.
It should be fun.
Yep. And then we'll be back on. Are we threatening to be on twice in 1 week? Are we going to do Friday?
Yeah, there's no reason not to do Friday. So let's do Friday, because we haven't spoken about Montreal. Not that there's much to say about them aside from they're awful, but we'll talk about Montreal and maybe why they haven't won a damn game yet.
Well, watch the first goal they conceded to Philadelphia over the weekend, and it'll give you a very, very strong opinion as to why. So just how they defended it. Anyway, good stuff, man. Thank you so much for joining us. All the comments, I think we set the record for comments tonight. So spread the word. We do this once a week at least, and we're going on twice. So we'll see you Friday, and then we'll be happy to bring you
all of you people who are watching and tuning in and commenting. If you could all retweet it, and share it on Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, wherever you are, we would appreciate it.
Yes, we would.
And give us a comment. Like it or not. We're big boys. We can handle it.
No, I only want compliments. I don't. I can't handle it. All right, for Roberto, I'm Glenn. Thank you so much for being with us on NYCFC Views Live.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast NYCFC Views on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.